when it came time to write the song about Joseph, I kind of didn't know what to think. I didn't know what his story was. He always kind of seemed like he was just kind of hanging out in the background and didn't have a lot to do. And I was so grateful that this making this record forced me to be curious about him, because the man I discovered when I brought my curiosity to his story just was a healing discovery. I'm inspired by this man, because what we have to remember about Joseph is that he loved a girl, and he had dreams for a future and a family that were shattered when this girl comes to him and says, "I'm pregnant." And he knows the baby's not his. And then she has the nerve to come up with this crazy story about how the father is God. And that had to feel terrible. And it was confusing, I'm sure. Of course he didn't believe her. Now here's the way the world works. We don't do hurt very well. Hurt is hard for us to hold, and so we usually allow it to turn into anger, because anger is an easier emotion than hurt. And so instead of being hurt, we will usually become angry, and then after we're angry, we'll usually seek vengeance. Hurt turns to anger, turns to vengeance, and this is human history. But in Joseph's story, that's not what happened. We read that says that he was a godly man. We know that it was within his power to do Mary harm. Maybe he could have had her stoned. If not that, at the very least, he could have destroyed her reputation. But it says something else. It says that because he was a godly man, he decided to divorce her quietly. Which tells me that he did some work he allowed the miracle of forgiveness to happen in his heart. Instead of hurt, turn into anger, turn into vengeance. And then it was after that, it was after his heart was proven. It was after his heart was proven that the angel came and said, "It's okay, Joseph, it's the way she said. There's this wonderful thing happening, and you've been invited to be a part of it." And I just think that's beautiful. That Joseph, because what Mary was pregnant with was forgiveness, right? Forgiveness for the world. But that same thing that she was pregnant with, that she was carrying in her womb, he was carrying it in his heart. And anyway, I admire that man and the virtue of forgiveness, and I think, isn't that exactly the kind of man that God would be looking for to be the earthly father of his little boy? find compassion when we don't understand. Bring a better end. It takes a miracle to show us. Forgiveness is a miracle. A miracle. And a miracle can change your world. Forgiveness is a miracle. Forgiveness is a into your darkest night, you trusted in the Lord. You took her as your wife. The forgiveness that she gave will be given back to you as you carry in your heart. She was holding you. Love was in a crowded barn. There you were beside